Welcome into the Commanders Report mailbag for this week. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. This is my favorite segment I get to do every single week, guys, because I get to talk Commanders football, and I get to talk about the topics that you have questions about and you guys want answers to. So I love having this kind of two-way conversation with you guys, and I really try to make it a priority to make sure we get to one mailbag a week so you guys can have a voice here on the Commanders Report. And if you guys want to get a question on a future Commanders Report mailbag, you guys can use hashtag Commanders down there in the comments section, along with your question, of course, or you can subscribe and join us every Wednesday for our Commanders Report live shows. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support on those. And without further ado, let's get into the questions here. Starting with Jasmine saying, I have a question for you, Jack. How are you going to trade for Trey Hendrickson? That's my question. So the way it happens is the contract negotiations between the Bengals and Hendrickson continue to not go anywhere this offseason. Now, I do think that the Bengals, and by the way, Trey, wants to go back there. And usually when both sides want to get a deal done, they find a way to get the deal done. So if I'd have to guess right now, I think Hendrickson does go back to the Bengals at some point. But there's been some contention between these two sides, and if things get worse and not better as the further along the offseason goes and the Commanders could still use a number one edge rusher, they could swoop in. So that is something to keep your eye on here, but it certainly seems like if it happens, it's going to be closer to the start of the season, and it's not going to be happening anytime soon. So I would, if I'm the Commanders, I'm probably looking at other avenues to address the edge rusher position. Then we got one from John Massoud. Says Jack, Cassie, and Joey, but today it's Coop. So shout out to producer Coop. Oh, there it is. He brings in Coop once again. John Massoud with another 10. Appreciate you, John. You're a real one. Multiple-time MVP of the raffles here on the channel as well. Absolute legend, John Massoud. Give it up for John in the comments, by the way. Got one from Jeremy. Thanks for the question, Jeremy. He says, what do you think about wide receiver Jakori Brooks? Think he will make the 53-man roster? I like him. Listen, man, everyone here at Chat Sports knows how much of an affinity I have for Louisville quarterback Tyler Shough, now Saints quarterback Tyler Shough. And I watched a lot of his film this year. I watched every single snap that he had at Louisville this past year. The one receiver that was anywhere near good was Jakori Brooks. All right, he made some awesome catches. I don't know if he's necessarily like a separator type of guy, but he made some awesome catches in contested situations last year. He was the only guy that would kind of bail Tyler Shough out of poor throws at times. So I think that he's a very intriguing UDFA that they brought in. Does he make the final 53-man roster? I mean, as a UDFA, it's going to be an uphill battle, but I do think that there are opportunities in this wide receiver room from the Washington Commanders where he could sneak his way in if he has a good offseason program. He's got some good size. He's got long arms. He's a former Alabama recruit. So he is certainly somebody that you got to keep your eye on during the offseason program for sure. Then we got one from Gregory. What's up, Greg? This is for all the hype with Daniels now. And someone recently ranked him number one QB in the league. Do you think win total over or under 9.5 is too low? Good show, Jack. Like always. Yeah, it's too low. I think that, this is a team that obviously went to the NFC Championship game just last year, and they've gotten better this offseason. And Jayden Daniels, it's a reasonable expectation that he's way more comfortable in the offense this year than he was last year. It's tough being a rookie in the National Football League, guys. And Jayden just showed ultimate poise out there on the biggest of stages, arguably played his best in the playoffs on the first two playoff games that this team played and won. So, yeah, I think that the over-under for wins for the Commanders is too low. I think it should probably be around 10.5. I think, just add a game on there, and that should be pretty good. But even then, I would probably take the over for the wins this year. So give me the over-under right now. 9.5 wins for the Commanders in 2025. Do you think they get over or under that mark this year? Give me an O if you think over, or type U if you think under. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me an O or a U. Going from Oscar here, says, can Lattimore and Amos contain Lamb and Pickens? So what's interesting about Lamb is that he plays mostly in the slot, okay? He's a slot merchant. And because of that, you got to have a good nickel corner and a good slot corner. This is why you draft a guy like Mike Sainristil as early as you did, because they drafted him to be a slot corner. And, having him being able to line up against CeeDee Lamb, even though he's not as big as CeeDee, he's certainly somebody that can compete with him in the slot, and that allows Lattimore and Amos to do their thing outside. I certainly think Lattimore is capable of handling George Pickens. Now, Pickens can make crazy catches. Sometimes great offense is just going to beat great defense every time. But Lattimore has the type of physicality and experience to be able to go up against a guy like George Pickens, absolutely. And in a pinch, I think Amos could certainly do that as well. So actually, I think Mike Sainristil, Oscar, is going to be somebody that's a big contributor to containing CeeDee Lamb because of how much he plays in the slot. Then we get into here our Fanatics read for the day. And if you guys want a Jayden Daniels jersey for yourself here, you can get one today. All right. What are you waiting for? If you haven't gotten a Jayden Daniels jersey yet, guys, he's absolutely awesome. He's going to be the quarterback for this team for a very long time, and he's going to end up being a Commander's legend. All right. I have a good feeling, cross our fingers here that, the next quarterback that's going to be raising a Lombardi trophy over his head for this football team, it's going to be Jayden Daniels. So if you guys want to get his jersey today, you can go chatsports.com/Daniels. Really do appreciate your guys' support. Of course, if you use our link, chatsports.com/Daniels, and you make a purchase, Fanatics sends us part of the proceeds. So if you want to help us out and you want to help yourself out here, get yourself that Jayden Daniels jersey in your closet finally here. Go chatsports.com/Daniels and make it happen. Got one from my man Evan Underwood. Says, can we sign Za'Darius Smith and Jadeveon Clowney or Von Miller? I see them all going close to vet minimum. Why not grab them all? Gotta grab them all. Yeah. You look at all the edge rushers that are out there, and, Jadeveon Clowney gets added to this list, along with Za'Darius Smith, Von Miller, Matthew Judon. The reason why they wouldn't probably get multiple guys is because they like some of the guys they have here. The thing about Dorance Armstrong and Cleveland Ferrell, those guys in particular, and they actually brought back Cleveland Ferrell this year, is that they're big bodies and they're really good at setting the edge in the run game, all right? Like, they are really, really good at that, and that's very valuable on early downs, is being really solid run defenders, all right? And then the way that they like to attack opposing teams in terms of a pass rush is they like to blow guys up in terms of like the stunts and the games and the loops and all these different stuff that they like to do on this defensive line. Some defenses rely on their edge rushers and their interior guys to win one-on-one. Other defenses, like the Commanders, like to, do a bunch of different stunts in games to get to pretty much scheme people open. So, I think that they like Dorance Armstrong. They obviously like Dietrich Wise enough to get him in free agency. They got Jacob Martin, who's more of a designated pass rusher type, and they still got Cleveland Ferrell for early down work as well. So, would I hate it if they grab multiple edge rushers on the open market? No. But I think that if they do bring one in, it's probably just going to be one. Then we could bring in a Moby here. I hope I'm saying that right. Moby says, how likely is Jayden Daniels to pass for 4,500 plus yards this upcoming season, presuming he doesn't get hurt? Listen, man, I'm not going to put it past Jayden to do anything this year. All right, he might break some crazy records for total yardage this year if he can take the proper step forward from where he was in his rookie season. And he was already arguably the greatest rookie quarterback in the history of the National Football League. So if he takes another step forward, we're talking about bona fide top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. And he might already be there, honestly, but, he'd be bona fide in that spot. And then, he might even be in the conversation for league MVP. So, I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. The total yardage numbers and the total touchdown numbers I expect to be absolutely astronomical. And, it's because of him that I'm expecting this team to compete for an NFC East division crown, even with as competitive as this division is going to be next year. Then we got one from Eli. He says, if the Commanders trade for Von Miller, it would be radical. So they wouldn't have to trade for him. They just have to sign him. He's a free agent right now, Eli. So they can sign him right now if they want. And they don't even have to give up any trade capital or draft capital to go get him. So absolutely, I would be happy with Von Miller. He's definitely getting up there in age, but if you're looking for somebody to replace Dante Fowler Jr. as this team's designated pass rusher, Miller can still get that job done. Absolutely. So before we get to the rest of the questions here, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you're enjoying yourself today, if you are a loyal member of this fan base and a loyal member of our family here at the Commanders Report. The real ones know clicking that thumbs up icon takes a half second of your time, and it is the easiest way to help out our channel. So thank you guys so much for clicking that thumbs up icon today. And with that, let's get into the rest of the questions. Starting with Keith, says, why spend more draft capital and go backwards? Why not move forward with what we got? I mean, because you could, obviously it depends on what player you're getting, Keith, but like, you're as a team, you'd be moving forward if you get a number one edge rusher like Trey Hendrickson, right? So even though you're giving up a little bit of draft capital to go get a guy like that, my proposed trade idea here, guys, would not affect the amount of picks that the Commanders have in 2026. It would just downgrade the pick that you have. What I mean by that is you trade and you swap your first-round pick for the Bengals' second-round pick, and then maybe you add on like a fourth-round pick in 2027 or something like that. But the value of a true number one edge rusher like Trey Hendrickson in this defense would be astronomical. It really would. It would allow the Commanders to play more one-on-one type of pass rushing type of style of defense instead of having to rely on stunts and games and all this different stuff that the Commanders like to do. Not to mention Hendrickson can absolutely blow some people up on some stunts. But, I think that you actually move forwards as a team if you are trading for a guy like Trey Hendrickson and not backwards. That's my perspective. Then you get G. Tuck, says, report by Chat Sports. What do you see as the plan post-Mariota to back up Daniels? I mean, who knows, man? I think it's a year-to-year thing. You could look at maybe Cooper Rush next year. But I think that they want to keep Mariota as long as they can keep him as the backup, all right? Like, Mariota showed last year that he is awesome in this offense, all right? Like, once he started using the same VR technology that Jayden Daniels has been using with this team, like, Mariota looked like a completely different quarterback when he played for this team last year. He's one of the most reliable and one of the most competent backup quarterbacks in the National Football League. I even thought, based on his performance last year, that a team like the Raiders might think about picking him up as a kind of bridge starter, but they end up, of course, getting Geno Smith. But good for us, Mariota's back in the fold, and if, God forbid, Jayden Daniels goes down, Mariota showed last year that the season's not over with Mariota at quarterback. He is a good operator of this offense. So as long as he's available to be here and he's not somewhere else, I want him here in Washington. So that'll be it for today's edition of the Commanders Report Mailbag by Chat Sports. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I will see you guys next time. And until then, hail to the Commanders.